We start our green and gold breakdown with the blue and yellow.
That's right. Let's go ahead and bring in Bart Winkler, the host of the Bart Winkler Show, as we get you ready for playoff baseball. Bart, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Yeah, the Packers right now, right at this current moment, are like the third biggest team right now with the Brewers playoffs and the Bucks and all their moves, but that'll change by next week. But right now, yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, so much. Let's get right into it. So how do you think the Brewers matchup with the Arizona Diamondbacks will do, and do they have a potential to get far into the playoffs?
I think that this Brewers team is set up to have a nice long October. Now, the problem with predicting baseball and talking about baseball is baseball's the flukiest and weirdest of the sports. So you can have your pitching lineup, which it does for Milwaukee. You can have a team that you think is hitting well, which I think Milwaukee is. Arizona coming into this series, they haven't scored more than 3 runs in the last 5 games. But none of that matters because every game is different. And baseball, there's more room for flukes and crazy plays and all that stuff. But this Brewers team, with what they've been able to do and the pitching that they do have, there is as much of a potential for a nice long run as there's been any of the years they've been in the playoffs under Craig Counsell.
How exciting.
Yeah, that sounds promising. And actually, after last night's game against the Cubs, a reporter asked manager Craig Counsell about his future with the team since he's a free agent at the end of the season and has not announced a decision on what he'll do next. So take a listen to what he had to say.
Very consistent with where I'm at here, and nothing's changed other than nothing's changed. I'm fired up for what's ahead of this team, and that's the only thing that I am thinking about right now and care about right now. And we've got a chance to do something special, to make great memories, to change some lives, and that's why would you think about anything else besides that right now?
So not really saying much about his future there. Bart, could this be Counsell's last run with the Brewers?
It could, and I think that is not welcome news to a lot of people. It also could not. Craig Counsell, as he said there, as he's been saying, has been very close to the vest about what he wants to do. The contract's up. He can either retire for a little bit and come back later. He can take some time off. He could go get another job. Now, I don't think that that's a likely possibility, but with David Stearns going to the New York Mets, some people in baseball are trying to connect those dots. Craig is about as Milwaukee as it gets. And in baseball, you don't see situations like this where a guy manages his hometown team and knows about the fans as much as he does. He knows the players, he knows the intricacies of baseball, but he knows what it's like for all the 40,000 people that are going to be there on Tuesday. He knows what it's like to get invested in this team. He knows what it's like to live and die with a baseball team all summer. That is a unique connection. And if it is going to be the end, one way or the other, you hope that he can give the fans a lot more memories as he's hoping to.
This is too much. This is too much, Bart. Let's go ahead and talk about the Bucks, because this is also huge. That trade for Damian Lillard, now Giannis and Dame on the same team. Is Milwaukee the favorite to win the title, or did Jrue Holiday going to the Celtics kind of close that gap a little bit?
So it definitely closed the gap. I still think the Bucks are the favorite. There's articles being written, depending on where you look. There was one article I read where the Boston Celtics one-upped the Bucks by trading for Jrue Holiday. And I'm trying to do the math on that. How do you one-up the Bucks by trading for a guy that you traded away? The Bucks got better. They got Damian Lillard, a top 75 player of all time. Nobody's ever cared about Damian Lillard's defense. Nobody's ever cared about things they're caring about now. The Bucks are a title favorite, and I think the title favorite. Now, it does seem like with Jrue Holiday going to Boston, they are destined to meet each other in the Eastern Conference playoffs, maybe the Eastern Conference finals. And that is going to be an excruciatingly tough series, not just from the basketball standpoint, but to watch Jrue, play against the Bucks. So I think the Bucks still are the favorite, but Boston definitely, I'd be lying to myself if I said they didn't close the gap.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to see him playing for that other team, but we'll have to face it. Finally, to the green and gold. The Packers play 1 week from today on Monday night against Las Vegas. So how can they bounce back from Thursday's beating?
Well, Las Vegas lost yesterday, and Devontae Adams, who is now there at a shoulder injury, did still return in the game, and they're trying to figure out if they're going to have their quarterback available next week in Jimmy Garoppolo. Yesterday they started Aiden O'Connell, rookie out of Purdue, who did not look that bad. I still think with the Packers, any outcome is possible, no matter the opponent. They could go and win by 14. They could lose by 14. They could do anything in between. They had a performance on Thursday that the Lions certainly won that game. There's no question about it. But there were a lot of things that they can learn from. They had a lot of moments that they looked young. They had a lot of moments that, showed that there needs to be some more, there's a lot of penalties. They have a lot to learn from and a lot they can improve on. So hopefully with this little mini bye, this extra couple of days, they can turn around and go to Las Vegas and get back on the winning track.
All
Definitely.
right, Bart. I mean, so much to talk about, and I'm sure we have a lot more to talk about next week when we see you on Monday. Thank you so much for waking up early and joining us this morning. By the way, you can watch next Monday night's game, the Showdown in Las Vegas, right here on WISN 12. Before the game, watch our countdown to kick off live from Sin City, starting at 6:30. Tonight's Monday night matchup is on your screen right now. Giants versus Seahawks kickoff set for 7:15. And don't forget, you can hear more from Bart on The Bart Winkler Show, wherever you get your podcasts.